Everybody want a bad bitch, but I want a better. Want a cold bitch, fuck her any kind of weather. Coming down cold cause I really miss a bitch. But really what you want, man, can't handle it. Cause the bitch too cold, my nigga, that's what I say. Pretty ass bitch come around your way. Do you really know what to say to pull that bitch? Well, this is what I said, just to get that cute bitch. Well, I said, hey girl, I know what you thinking. Is this nigga really fucking filthy and stinking rich? And I say, hell yeah, bitch, come around my way. So we can do it just like shit, manager's choice. Back in the day, in the fucking school, girl, you know how we did it, girl. Ain't no fucking rules, ain't no plans, ain't no motherfucking thing. I just pick you up and try to spin all my chains. I make it right back, girl, it ain't nothing. To a nigga L Mac, baby, it's not stunning. I just live my life every day real good. Every day, nigga, do you really understand? Or better yet, should I say, baby, understood? I am a general, where the fuck would you be? Girl, let's take a fucking shopping spree in a fucking city somewhere away from me. Or better yet, let's go to another state, eat a fucking steak and plate, and do the shake and bake, cause I be the middleman. You understand, man? This is what I do to get them bands. Never changing, always doing what the fuck I can. So understand, baby girl, this is L's world. If you don't, then you gotta get it in Wayne's world. Break it down real slow and real simple. Pop the bitch booty like it was a pimple.
We're riding hard with